Cartoons, the animated frontier. These are the voyages of the Cellcast podcast. Its continuing mission to explore strange new cartoons, to seek out new animation styles and new creative storytelling methods, to boldly go where so few ever go again. Hello and welcome to another episode of the Cellcast. Joining me today is a man who he's found his tunes that he can study to, and it has something to do with a country road. Welcome, Jacob.
Well, just take me home then.
Maybe.
Why, thank you. Let me introduce our co-host. A man who just wants to read and play video games. Welcome, Drew.
There weren't any video games happening in this movie.
Well, you do like to read.
I do like to read. But there weren't no video. Well, I do enjoy fantasy, and there were plenty of fantasy fairy tale stuff in this.
Agreed.
So, yeah, we'll go with that.
That'll work.
I'm fairly certain I've played a game in the environment the Baron was in this movie.
There's probably a few games inspired by that or something.
Very much so.
Yeah.
How are you doing, Jacob?
Man, I'm doing fairly well. It's kind of get used to not taking adjusting glasses on. I decided to wear contacts tonight, so do something different. Doing pretty good. Work is work, and praying, and hopefully they can hire more people because that gets really aggravating really fast.
Right.
Like anybody knows nowadays that how our country is and our world is right now. So yeah, if you're looking for a job,
Go work at Berkshire Brothers. Jacob needs help.
right.
And especially if you're in the Jacksonville area.
Yeah, or East Texas area either way. So either way.
Also, everyone needs to go out and get a job if they don't have one.
Exactly.
You're making it harder on us who are working.
Yeah. Plus, tankers are stuck in ports and can't get them to move.
Yeah.
Yeah, just those fun little things where everything keeps going up because they won't move things because of COVID. And there again, COVID is a real thing. It's not fake.
We never said it was fake.
Yeah, we all know that, but some people believe that. So I just want to make that clear. COVID is real. So, but we're not getting, anybody who's going to take us off the air because we're saying something we're not.
Okay.
All right. So, with that out of the way.
Not that this was a COVID cast in any
No,
way,
it's
shape,
not a
or
COVID
form.
cast at all. We're not giving you information about COVID. Either way, we're going straight out the bow of the ship into the depths of the ocean with this.
You've gotten off kilt. I can already tell.
Apparently, yes. I thought I got prepped for this, but apparently my ADD had different plans.
It helps when you're able to watch yourself on the screen all the time.
Exactly. That makes it a little more difficult. So, either way, I'm doing very well. How about you, Drew?
I'm doing all right. It's been a interesting little week. And, of course, I got the bad news last weekend that Final Fantasy XIV got delayed. But other than that, I'm fine. But I've had a pretty decent week.
That's good.
Nothing too crazy happened.
Yeah.
So, what have you been watching?
What have I been watching? All right. So, what I've been watching. All right. So, I finished MacGyver season 2, the original series from the 1980s. The series in which I loved, grew up watching, and that's why I carry around a Swiss Army knife with me.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's useful at every situation.
Right.
So, as most of our listeners know, we were doing Tangled, the series, Rapunzel's Tangled Adventure. And
those episodes will be coming back out again soon.
Yes.
Because I have time.
Oh, excellent. So, just curious, the episodes that have dropped so far.
All of season 1. We have not started season 2 drops yet.
Okay, excellent. Okay. So for those of you who don't know,
technically, all of Tangled the series is out. We have not started Rapunzel's Tangled Adventure yet.
Yeah, we haven't started that yet. Which technically, apparently, it was still Tangled Adventure until about midpoint of season 2, and then it became Rapunzel's Tangled Adventure.
No, it's yeah. it's Tangled the series just in season 1, and then starting with season 2, it's Rapunzel's Tangled Adventure.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
At least with the opening sequence.
Okay. Yeah, that's true. That is so true. Either way or. So as most of us know, it took us like a year to go through Tangled and get. Well, it was partially my fault because it took me that much time to edit. Because I have a very bad case.
Well, and we had this idea.
Yeah, we had this idea.
There was an idea, to quote Samuel L. Jackson.
Yeah.
But it's not the Avengers Initiative.
No.
The idea was we would do this we'd be editing these TV shows. We'd be commenting on the TV shows, and it was your idea, and you brought up Rapunzel's Tangled Adventure, or Tangled the series. I don't remember how you told me. And I said, well, after seeing that clip,
yes,
I kind of am curious.
Yes.
And then in the process, we did the season 1 of Lower Decks.
Mm-hmm.
And then immediately after that, we went into Thundercats 2011.
Mm-hmm.
And we planned it. I even, all through January of this year, I released 5 episodes a week so that we'd be done with Thundercats, so that we'd be able to jump straight into Tangled the series.
Yes.
And then, and all this time we were recording, except we had taken a break when we finished season 1, and we're trying to get back into season 2.
Yes.
And because I was worried when we were all setting this up how I would have time to edit.
Mm-hmm.
Come to find out, those episodes are a lot easier to edit than a normal episode.
Right.
But that's beside the point. Now we're like 2/3 of a season behind on getting caught up.
Yeah.
And apparently I have some procrastination issues.
Don't we all?
So we're in another gap until we get caught up on releasing season 2, which I'm going to get started on it this week.
Yeah.
After I get something else edited.
Right.
That I need to get sent off to someone else on the Culture Box Media Network.
Good. So with all that said, because when we recorded season 2 of Rapunzel's Tangled Adventure, aka Tangled the series,
AKA whatever you want to call it.
AKA whatever you want to call this series at one point. Thank you, Disney, for changing names. So we record about halfway through season 2.
Mm-hmm.
And then the brakes got pumped on that because, different things came up. And that's normal.
I was feeling overwhelmed.
Yeah, which is
and I need to go back to being whelmed.
That is perfectly understandable.
Except whelmed isn't a word.
No,
but anyway,
it's not a word. But so we stopped, and me wanting to finish at least season 2, finish season 2.
Mm-hmm.
So this week, or what was it? It was early last week. It was early. No, it was. I started Friday. And then I finished yesterday, I think, or the day before. So I finally finished watching season 2 of Tangled, or Rapunzel's Tangled Adventure. And wow, just watching because there again, the internet spoils you on so much.
Yeah.
On a lot. So watching all of season 2 in its entirety is like, whoa, incredible. So if you have not watched Tangled the series or Rapunzel's Tangled Adventure, please go check that out. And then I get into season 3, and to be bluntly honest, I'm watching the first episode of season 3. So it gives you more backstory to what happened at the very end of season 2.
Right.
And
something about blue hair.
There again,
because I've seen those pictures.
If you have watched the series, please do not put spoilers in the commentary where you're posting.
Because just in doing my little bit of research I've done for the show, when I've been bringing up trivia and such, I'll routinely see, blue hair.
Yeah, exactly.
I wonder what that could be about.
Yeah.
Because I can't actually put 2 and 2 together.
Yeah, I'm pretty
Which is
sure.
why I'm not mentioning who has the blue hair.
Yes, exactly. But it's really interesting why this person has blue hair.
I'm sure it is. I'm sure it has something to do with that scene.
Probably.
But that's all I'm going to say.
Yeah. So, that episode 1, season 3, broke me. I'm sitting there before work, and I'm just choking up because there's a certain song that we've already finished with recording. I think it's in the middle of season 2. Middle of season 2. It's Rapunzel in the Dark Tree.
Yeah.
Yes. The certain song Waiting in the Wings.
Decay.
Yeah.
Wrong one.
Yeah.
I went to the enchantment.
No, not that song. That song's also in episode. I think in episode.
All of a sudden, my
2.
hair turns black, my eyes go black, and everything.
And I'm running for the door as best as I can before I get sucked in. Before I succumb to the asthmata. What's the word I'm looking for?
I don't know.
Before I succumb to becoming choked by death.
Asthma is the word you're trying to say, maybe.
Something like that.
Asthmatic?
No, not asthmatic.
That's the closest I can come up with what you actually got out.
As the mist or something like that. That's the word I was trying to look for. But either or.
Anywho.
Anyways. So yes, if you've watched Tangled or Rapunzel's Tangled Adventure, you've watched season 2 completely. You've watched the first half of season 3. You know exactly what I'm talking about.
Meanwhile, I'm back here thinking, I'm probably going to have to watch all these episodes again to get caught back up because I'm not going to remember what's going on.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Although I think I can skip going back through season 1 again.
And then they skip to, oh my gosh, we got to go do this. What? It's like, don't get me wrong, this is a really good series.
Which means I get to be reintroduced to those stupid little island dudes that annoyed me so much.
I haven't got there yet.
No, this was season 2.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Ow,
I'm going back through season 2, and I got to go back to the island dudes. It's like...
Sorry. But, yes.
There's some spoilers for upcoming content.
Yes. It doesn't give really any context what's really going on, but...
Josh is suggesting the word you were looking for earlier was miasma.
Miasma. Thank you, Josh. Thank you so much. I am so scatterbrained today. It's not even funny. So, yes, that is what I've been watching Tangled, the series, or Rapunzel's Tangled Adventure, season 3, which is really good. And I would recommend to anybody who's ever watched Tangled, because Tangled is better than Frozen. Fight me on it.
Who would?
Yeah, who would? It's a really good. It's a good movie.
Some 4-year-old?
Maybe.
I mean, most adults would probably say you're correct, just so they don't have to hear "Let It Go" again.
That is true. They just can't hold it back anymore.
Who can?
Yeah, exactly. So Tangled's better. So yes, I got around to watching that. I got to watch it. It's really good. Highly recommend it. And then while I'm watching Whispers of the Heart, finishing watching this movie, and it's like, okay, I remember Drew talking about how The Cat Returns is a prequel, and I'm like,
well,
okay, I've got
hang on, because you act. I'm gonna.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead, because you just gave away the answer to the trivia question.
Oh, I did. Ooh, not good. Oh,
go ahead. I will jump do the trivia question when you get done with your part.
All right. So,
because I did mention I would read people's names who got it right, which means I need to bring those up. Go ahead.
Yeah. So I text Drew. It's like, dude, can I borrow The Cat Returns? Because I knew he had it.
I was in the middle of the stream. Josh can back me up on that.
Mm-hmm. So I texted him, like, hey, can I borrow the movie? He's like, sure, middle of a stream. So I come on over, grab the movie. It's nearly 9 o'clock at night. So I pop the movie in. And it's just like, oh my gosh. Yes. I'd be like, this movie is amazing. If you have not watched The Cat Returns, which I think it should be called The Baron Returns because it makes more sense. It's just an amazing film. Be like, these two movies are night and day. Night and day. It's so good. So, yeah, that is all I've been watching.
Well, since you did bring up the trivia question.
Yes.
Our trivia question this week was, what character from Whispers of the Heart goes on to star in another Studio Ghibli film? We had 3 people answer. In order of correctness, because some people were not specific.
Oh.
Dallas of Geek Devotions just says the cat. That's only 1 point.
That's 1 point. Yeah, pretty much.
David Gardner of the enthusiast. I can't even say this guy's name. The enthusiast. It's enthusiast and theist. That's one word.
Well, so never mind.
Enthusiast.
Enthusiast.
Anyway,
that's an interesting saying.
He says the Baron. I'll give that 5 points.
Yeah.
But at 10 points, Josh Adams says Baron Humbert von Gekeken, which is essentially the guy's name, comes back in The Cat Returns. He says at the time he hadn't seen it yet, but could tell that was probably the case from the title cards on HBO Max.
Now, the question would be, Josh, it's okay, you got the answer correct, but did you have to Google it in order to figure out how to spell it?
I hope so, because I'm not sure. I don't even know if he spelled it right. I'm being nice right about that.
Yeah,
but
yeah, congratulations, guys. Like, to whatever level of points you got, that's awesome, guys. Thank you so much.
I might keep up with that. You never know.
That's a really
there
good
may not be
point.
prizes, but I might keep up with that.
Yeah, it sounds like I feel like it's a lot of fun. So yeah, guys, thank you so much for putting in your answers, and Drew over here might continue doing that. That's a really
I'm actually looking up a one right now for our next movie. So now our trivia question for this week is: who wrote the English language version of Princess Mononoke? Look for the post that this trivia that is going to be in the Facebook page with this same question on it, and answer there. And of course, if you get it right, we will read it on the next episode.
So good luck.
And I'm about to hit the post button right now.
Hit the button.
It's posting.
Good.
So go take a look for that.
Yeah.
Anyway, back to things.
So what things are there?
Well, things such as, say, news.
News. Okay.
No, wait, I haven't said what I've been watching.
No, you haven't. So get back.
We got off on a tangent.
Of course.
What's new? Anyway.
Whoa. There's a cat. There's cats in this movie. It makes sense.
Anyway, I saw a movie over the weekend.
Really?
Last Friday. A certain 27th film in its series.
27th. Well, what?
Say the second film. No, sorry, the third. No. Third film of the phase 4 of this franchise.
Oh, you're referring to Eternals?
Yes.
Oh.
I saw Eternals.
Ah.
And it is a fairly decent movie. It is a little more darker, I'd say, than some of the other MCU offerings so far.
Okay.
But it really opened up a lot about certain aspects of the MCU lore that they hadn't had a chance to go into too much yet.
Okay.
But they've brought up, of course, once or twice before. Namely, Celestials. Both times in a Guardians of the Galaxy movie, now that I think about it.
True.
But anyway, so I saw that. That was good. Other than that, I haven't had a chance to watch much of anything. And playing-wise, outside of the Monday night stream of Dragon Quest XI, Echoes of an Elusive Age, Definitive Edition, S. I think that's the entire title.
SX/2. What is this, a Kingdom Hearts game?
Maybe.
Just kidding.
Same right company, wrong franchise. I've also been playing another Square Enix game.
I hear it. I see a theme here.
Apparently I like Square Enix titles.
Apparently.
It comes up a lot. They get a lot of my money. But this one they get my money monthly. Because it's Final Fantasy XIV.
Okay.
I've been playing more of that. I have been playing Black Mage because I wanted to level a Black Mage. I'm making my way through that. I was in a hurry to try and get some stuff done before the expansion was coming out, which was originally 2 weeks from this Thursday. That is no longer the case because Friday, while I'm watching Eternals, there was a what do you call that? A stream.
Oh, okay.
Stream of them, and they, because they're giving out more and more news slowly and surely as they get closer. Yeah. And it started off with, the game's delayed for quality assurance reasons. And it's like,
I'm happy, but at the same time, that's the weekend you put it on is a very busy weekend for me. I might get some play in, but I don't know. But other than that, it's been just kind of a normal week. I haven't had a chance to watch a whole lot extra. I do have some stuff I need to watch,
Okay. Same here.
but I will work on that this coming week.
Ah.
So, what do we have in the news?
All right, so just a little bit of news. All right, so Netflix has dropped the official trailer for the key art for the upcoming original animated feature Back to the Outback. It's fresh from the security office of the Australian Wildlife Reserve. The spot offers the last known footage of basically the new trailer came out for Back to the Outback. If you don't know about that trailer, go look it up. It's kind of funny.
I know nothing about it.
Okay, go check it out if you have the chance. That'll be coming out December 10th on Netflix.
Mm-hmm.
It looks fun, so might review it, possibly, maybe. You never know. All right, so maybe I actually might be able to review it at my own home by that point.
Amazingly, yes.
Maybe, just possibly. That might be a miracle of the Lord. All right,
Can
so
you still watch a lot of that on a PS3?
that is true. That is so true. I do own a PS3. All right.
I'm just saying you might have to find something else to hook up. Anyway, continue.
All right. So
I just thought of that as the thing. I apologize.
it's all good. So the new trailer for Universal Pictures Sing 2 came out, and it is jam-packed full of recognizable actors and actresses who are known for singing and others who are not.
And many of them returning from the first movie.
Exactly.
Did it say when that's coming out?
They described it. It's coming out in there's a preview coming out later this year, later this month in November, and that's like a sneak peek. If you want to get the purchase tickets for a preview of the film, and it's not saying when, but it's saying Christmas as its release date. That
Okay.
as far as I understand,
December 22nd.
Thank you. Close enough.
Yeah, we won't get Sing 1 in before then, but
No.
because we have a packed December and January.
Yes, we do. So more on,
More on that later.
yeah. I wanted to say something about that, but I'm not going to at this moment. It's going to be prodigious.
Perhaps.
Maybe. Just maybe. All right, so that's all I have in the news.
Well, then we need to get into our spoiler-free section of our review of Whispers of the Heart.
Yeah.
Oh, it just seemed to make sense.
It does.
This is actually my second viewing of the film. So I first saw this 2 years ago when I was visiting a friend of mine and his wife, Joseph and Jesse, and up in Commerce.
Yeah.
And I had actually gotten this and Cat Returns on like the same weekend, and I posted to him and says, "Hey, I got these two movies. Y'all want to see one of them?" And Jesse had already seen Cat Returns. So she said, "Well, I hadn't seen Whispers of the Heart yet." And I said, "Okay, we can watch that." So we watched it, and it wasn't what I expected the movie to be. Because I had heard of The Cat Returns. I had not heard of Whispers of the Heart, but I knew the cat from the other one that I'd seen clips from, and saw that it was an action, high-flying adventure was in this one. So I naturally assumed that this had more to do with that.
Nope.
If that is your thoughts, I'm going to go ahead and break your heart right now. Yes, the cat, the Baron is in this movie. He is not the main character in any way, shape, or form.
Uh-huh. He's mentioned a lot.
He's mentioned a lot. And at least a form of him comes up a lot in the movie. But when you get right down to it, John Denver's Country Roads has more to do with it, makes more appearances in this movie than the Baron does.
Very True.
But I did, in fact, if you look, I really do feel that the cover of this book is false advertising because it makes you think, we're going to be going to another world. There's going to be adventures. And it's like, no, this is going to take place in 1990s Japan. Okay. That's not to say the scene does not come from the movie.
Right.
But it's not as much of a deal as I would have hoped. That being said, I enjoy this movie. It is kind of a love story.
Yes.
And I think it's good enough that you can show it to... I think it's clean enough you can show it. But I mean, I enjoyed the movie. I thought it was good. It's a nice love story. Mm-hmm. It's unfortunately the only movie that Studio Ghibli has with this director. Mm-hmm. And I that is a sad thing. But anyway... It's a good movie. I enjoyed it, and I think kids can watch it. What are your spoiler-free thoughts?
So this is my first time watching the film. Drew obviously was his inspiration to do the month of November Studio Ghibli month, and it's like, okay, great. So I've watched a lot of really, really great films.
And some films you didn't like.
Oh, yeah. Just go back to watch the first year in Grave of Fireflies. You hear me rant for like 15 minutes.
Or my rant during Ocean Waves.
Exactly. They're both good. Well, his is better. Let's just say that.
Only because, well, we won't get into that.
Yeah, either way, go
We've had this discussion.
Yeah, go listen to those. So I've watched some really good films, some not so good films. But Whisper of the Heart was really good. It was a really good story about teenage love. And there again, the cover does not, it is more false advertising. And the Baron in question, the cat, is in the film and animation form. He's actually a character instead of a statue. He's in maybe like 3 minutes of footage.
I think it's closer to 10.
Oh, okay.
Cary Elwes did not do a whole lot in this movie.
No, he didn't. So I'm kind of in that same sympathy as Drew. It's just more false advertising. That there again, we're going to go into this fantasy world, but
more on that in a minute.
Yeah, but in truth, it's more of a love story between preteens.
Yes,
preteens and middle school, and their struggle with social life and wanting to be in love and all this stuff.
Coming of age
story. Good call on that one. And overall, it's a good story. It's long. It feels like a very long, drawn out story. Which good long storytelling format is good, and there are good elements within this film. There's just it's not exactly my cup of tea as a story. But like as a movie, story wise, it's really well done. Just not exactly my cup of tea. Family friendly, absolutely. There's nothing wrong with the film, and so yeah, definitely family friendly.
All right. Well, that brings us to the intermissions. We've got to drop some spoilers, promote some peoples, and when we come back, we will get to spoiling this thing.
Indeed.
Don't forget that you can download? Don't forget that you can... Don't forget that you can listen to us record the podcast live every Tuesday over on our Facebook page, The Cellcast, our Twitch channel, The Cellcast Gaming, and on YouTube at Cellcast. Also, don't forget to join our Patreon if you would like to support us monetarily. At $1, you'll get our everlasting thanks. At our $5 tier, you can get some artwork from Jacob. And at our $10 tier, you can get bloopers for every episode we've released that I've remembered to release them for. And you can get commentaries from different movies. So come check us out over there if you would like to support us financially. This podcast is part of the Culture Box Media Network. For more great content like this, please check out the link in the description. There you can find other great shows, such as The Untold Podcast, which is a speculative fiction podcast utilizing the genres of sci-fi, fantasy, and horror, among others, in order to engage the culture's imagination from a Christian worldview. Every month, Nathan James Norman produces and narrates a new story presented in a unique and dynamic way.
You can check out their podcast at untoldpodcast.com. Also, we are a part of Pop Americana, where you can enjoy other shows like Franchise Fatigue. Do you like movies? Of course you do. I bet you even like big movie franchises like Star Wars, the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and Indiana Jones. And obviously, since you listen to us, you must like listening to movie reviews. But what if I were to tell you there is a podcast that reviews film series one movie at a time? You'd like that? Well, then go check out the Franchise Fatigue podcast over on your favorite podcast catcher and listen to James and Gabe give an in-depth analysis and review on every movie in your favorite franchise. The following is a spoiler-filled review for Whispers of the Heart. If you haven't seen it yet, you ought to turn us off now and come back after you have watched the movie Country Roads. Take me home to the place I belong, West Virginia, Mountain Mama. Take me home, Country Roads. We almost stayed in harmony the whole time.
Almost. Right on.
All right.
I can have harmony.
Every once in a while.
Every once in a while. I don't sound like a strangled cat.
Whispers of the Heart was directed by Yoshifumi Kondo. The only other two things he directed was two little shorts, one called The Sky-Colored Seed and Little Nemo Pilot. This was the first and only movie that he directed because sadly in 1998 he died of a ruptured aneurysm at the age of 47.
Oh, jeez.
He was considered to be, he was being groomed almost as the successor to Hayao Miyazaki for the company.
Wow.
That's how much they thought of this guy, which makes sense since Miyazaki actually wrote this movie.
He did.
And the English version was written by Cindy Davis and Donald H. Hewitt, who also wrote The Cat Returns.
Makes sense.
Getting into the cast, we've got Brittany Snow, who was the voice of Shizuku Tsukishima, and in the movie Pitch Perfect, she played Chloe. I do not know who that is, because I've never watched Pitch Perfect.
Me either.
That was the biggest thing I saw on hers. David Gallagher was the voice of Seiji Amasawa, and in the movie Super 8, he played Donnie.
Okay.
James Sicking was the voice of Seiya Tsukishima. That's the father.
Okay.
And he was Captain Styles of the Starship Excelsior in Star Trek III: The Search for Spock.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
This ship that gets blown up really fast.
But it doesn't get blown up in that movie. It never gets blown up, actually.
Oh, never mind. I feel stupid.
Scotty just
Oh!
clogs up the plumbing so it can't go into Transwarp Drive when Kirk steals the Enterprise.
Wrong ship.
Yes, definitely the wrong ship.
I was thinking more of the science ship that go boom in the beginning.
Yeah, that's a different ship.
Yes, it is. Never mind.
All right. Jean Smart was the voice of Asako Tsukishima. And in Kim Possible, she was the voice of Dr. Ann Possible. I was expecting more of a reaction, but he got distracted by his phone.
Of course.
Did you even hear what I said?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
Yes, I did.
Ashley Tisdale was the voice of Yuko Harada.
Yeah.
And she was the voice of Candace Flynn in Phineas and Ferb.
Yeah, she was.
Along with Sharpay in High School Musical.
Yeah, she had a fairly good run.
And wasn't she in your favorite show, Hannah Montana?
She was in one episode.
Oh, okay.
A crossover, actually.
That's probably why I didn't pay that close attention to it when I was doing my note. Harold Gould was the voice of Shiro Nishi. And in the movie The Sting, he played Kid Twist. I've not seen The Sting.
I've never heard of it.
It's a fairly old movie. It was a fairly big movie. It was like, I think it won some Academy Awards.
Kid Twist?
No, The Sting.
Oh, The Sting.
He played Kid Twist in The Sting.
Okay.
I don't even know if that's a big character, but anyway.
No, The Sting, yes.
Okay. Courtney Thorne Smith was the voice of Shiho Tsukishima, and in the the TV show, According to Jim, she played Cheryl,
Okay.
which was the wife. I had to look that up. Martin Spangers was the voice of Sugimura, and he played Randy Randinger in something called The Comebacks. Mike Burum was the voice of Kinuyo, and he played she played a character named Micah in something called Hollywood.con.
I've heard of a movie like that.
It's apparently coming out this year.
Oh, okay.
It looks bad.
Okay, that's fair enough.
Last and most certainly not least, Carrie Elways was the voice of the Baron, and he is most famous for playing Wesley in The Princess Bride.
As you wish.
And Robin Hood in Robin Hood Men in Tights.
I still haven't seen it. I own it, but I haven't watched it yet. So I just noticed that in the chat,
One of the
chats, that Josh had pointed out that Ashley Tisdale was also in The
Sweet Life of Zack and Cody.
Thank you.
That's probably the crossover with
exactly with
Hannah Montana.
All right, so yeah.
All right.
Wanted to point that out.
So there's quite a number of Kingdom Hearts connections in this one. A couple of big ones. I'm going to start low to high.
Okay.
Bradley Pierce was a high school student in this, and was additional voices in Kingdom Hearts. D. Bradley Baker was additional voices in this, and he played Waka in Kingdom Hearts.
Waka waka.
A.J. Buckley was a high school student in this, and was additional voices in Kingdom Hearts. Brittany Snow, who played Shizuku, voices Naminé in Kingdom Hearts. You don't know who that is yet.
The name sounds really familiar.
Oh, you should, from our first year on our Lost episode when I was trying to untangle everything, because I brought her up.
You did, that's right.
But you don't know who that is yet.
No, I don't.
One day, we will get back to the Kingdom Hearts streams, and you'll learn. Yes, Josh. Thank Naminé.
Yeah. And I don't know if we'll ever release that Lost episode. Or not.
I don't know if I still have that Lost episode.
We'll have to redo it then. That was interesting.
Maybe. Anyway, last and most certainly not least in our Kingdom Hearts connections, David Gallagher, who voiced Seiji in this, is Riku in Kingdom Hearts.
Really?
Yes.
I know who Riku is.
Yeah, I know you know who Riku is. That's why I saved him for last.
Exactly.
Anyway, what do we got in info and stuff?
All right. So, info and stuff. All right. So, you can watch Whispers of the Heart on HBO Max. You subscribe to HBO Max. On IMDb, it has a score of 7.9 out of 10. Production was Studio Ghibli, obviously. Distribution was by Toho. And its American distributions was originally the Walt Disney Company until it was redistributed by G-Kids most recently, which is the version you have up here. Release date, it was released in Japan on July 15th, 1995. On March 7th of 2006, it was released and dubbed in English in America. Box office, I could not find anything regarding the Japanese release. Because most of them, they do have releases for movie theater releases.
Yes, but they don't always post the
don't.
takings from it. A lot of times, if they do post something, it's in tickets
That is
sold,
true.
not in the money they made.
That is true. All right, so it's U.S. and Canada gross was $498,000, and its world gross wasn't that much more. It was $585,000. There again, these are limited releases, so they don't generate a whole lot of revenue. All right, so home release. Whispers of the Heart was released in Japan. July 15th, 1995. The first video in the country to use Dolby Digital sound format. It was released on VHS and Laserdisc on July 1996, and VHS later the reissue of Buena Vista Home Entertainment Japan in July 25th, 1997. And they later saw a DVD release on May 24th, 2002. Unlike other Ghibli films in the country, this one had not been reissued or remastered in the said country. In 2011, Walt Disney Studio Japan released the movie on Blu-ray. Whispers of the Heart, here comes the U.S. release.
Mm-hmm.
The English dub of this film was produced by Walt Disney Pictures in 2003, but it wasn't released until March 7th, 2006, when it came out on DVD. Turner Classic Movies televised both the dub and subbed versions July 9th, 2006. The North American Blu-ray was released by Walt Disney Studio Home Entertainment May 22nd, 2012, alongside Castle in the Sky and The Secret World and Ariana?
Secret World of Arrietty.
Arrietty. I almost got it right.
It's the one you gave me the poster for that I never had a chance to hang up.
That is true. G-Kids reissued the film on Blu-ray and DVD in July 16, 2018, under the new deal with Studio Ghibli. And its sequel, it has a prequel, and we will review it, and it is an amazing film, as we both said. The Cat Returns. So, yeah, that came out in 2005?
I believe so.
Yeah.
It was the first movie after this one that was directed by somebody besides Miyazaki or Takahata. Mm-hmm. Every movie in between there was voiced by them. And this movie actually, Whispers of the Heart, actually caused Miyazaki to go into his first retirement.
Really?
Yeah, not because of this movie, but because the director passed. That shook him that much he retired. But then came back later for Princess Mononoke.
That makes sense. And also, if memory serves, the reason the movie had been released.
The reason there's a 3-year gap between when they did the dub and it was released was because of the copyright issues with the song Country Roads, which is featured prominently in the film, which is why we sang it. And it took them a while to get that cleared up enough where they could use it here. Because they do it's not just that they had to get John Denver's permission or you also had to get Olivia Newton-John's permission because it's her version that starts it.
Yeah, they did.
And then they just sing like 30 different versions throughout the whole film.
They did.
It's like, I get what you're doing, but this is just weird.
Agreed.
Anyway, getting into the summary for this film. Shizuku Tsukishima is a 14-year-old girl who attends Mukai Hara Junior High School, where she is best friends with Yuko Harada. She lives in a Tokyo suburb with her parents Asako, Seiya, and older sister Shiho, and is keen on books. One summer evening, she looks through the checkout cards in her library books and discovers they were all checked out previously by someone named Seiji Amasawa. Shizuku meets Yuko at the school and reveals her rendering of Take Me Home Country Roads she was working on for the school graduation, including a mockery named Concrete Roads. Yuko reveals that she has a crush on a boy named Sugimura who happens to be Shizuku's friend. Yuko and Shizuku walk home when she realizes she left her book at the school. She runs back to discover a boy reading her book while teasing her rendering of Concrete Roads, a set of original lyrics describing Tama Newtown, which, if you remember, was the setting of Pompoko, that Shizuku based on the song. The boy tells her how corny her lyrics are, which leaves her feeling irritable for the rest of the evening. The next day, while on her way to the library, Shizuku encounters a cat commuting on the train and follows it to discover an antique shop run by Shiro Nishi. In the shop, there's a cat statuette nicknamed the Baron, as well as a centuries-old antique clock. Realizing she's late for the library, Shizuku runs out feeling ecstatic about finding a place where stories begin, only to run into the boy she had met the previous day, who returns her lunchbox she left behind. She comments on how much food is in the box, or he comments on how much food is in the box, and rides away singing her song, leaving Shizuku in another foul mood. When school restarts, Yuko is devastated when Sugimura asks her to reply to a love letter his teammate sent. Shizuku confronts Sugimura and scolds him for his actions, only for him to reveal he had a crush on her. However, she rejects him in order to not hurt Yuko. Shizuku leaves feeling leveled. Feeling disconsolate, Shizuku decides to head to the antique shop, meeting the boy once more. He shows her the workshop, where she discovers that he is learning to make violins to pursue his dream of becoming a master luthier. She begs him to play the violin for her, but he agrees on the condition that she sings along. The pair perform Country Roads. The boy is revealed to be Seiji, Nishi's grandson, and Shizuku and Seiji finally befriend each other. Seiji admits that he admires Shizuku's talents and reveals his dream to become a luthier, as well as his efforts of checking out a large number of books in the hopes that she would eventually notice him. Days later, Seiji leaves for Cremona, Italy for a 2-month study with a master violin maker. Inspired by Seiji, Shizuku decides to pursue her skill for writing seriously in the same 2 months. She asks Nishi if she can write a story featuring the Baron, to which Nishi grants his consent in exchange for being the first to read her story. Shizuku concocts a fantasy story featuring herself as the protagonist, the Baron as the male hero looking for his lost love Luis, and the cat from the train, a neighborhood stray who is, among other names, known as Moon and Muta, as the antagonist. Devoting her time to her writing, Shizuku stays up until early in the morning and her school grades drop. She argues with her family over her grades and future, and as she continues to push herself, her anxiety mounts. When her story is complete, Nishi reads it and gives his honest assessment. Shizuku bursts into tears as the stress of the last 2 months turns into relief. Nishi consoles her and tells her the real-life story of the Baron. When he studied in Germany in his youth, he found his first love, a woman named Louise. Nishi discovered the twin statuettes of the Baron and his female companion in a cafe, but as the female one was away for repairs, the shopkeeper would only allow Nishi to buy the Baron if Louise agreed to hold on to its companion so they could be reunited. However, the two lovers and their cat statues were separated during World War II. In the original Japanese script, Shizuku never knew of the truth of the Baron's origin or of Louise, and Seiji earlier tells her that his grandfather refuses to speak of it. This makes Shizuku's inclusion of Louise in the story a tremendous coincidence, or something else. But in the English dub, Seiji's dialogue is changed and he briefly tells her about Louise. Deciding she needs to learn more about writing and that she wants to attend high school, Shizuku announces to her mother that she will resume studying for her high school entrance exams. Shizuku wakes up early in the morning and sees Seiji outside on his bicycle, having returned a day earlier. In the English dub, Seiji tells Shizuku he decided to finish high school before returning to Cremona to become a luthier, which differs from the Japanese dialogue when she says he will return to Cremona after middle school graduation is planned. Seiji takes Shizuku on his bike to a hidden lookout where they see the sunrise. Seiji professes his love for Shizuku and proposes that they marry in the future. She happily accepts. Shizuku's version of Country Roads plays over the ending credits while daily life in the hometown is observed. Getting into the trivia for this marked the first use by Studio Ghibli of digital composition, meaning that elements of scenes were composed using a computer. In this case, it's the flying scenes with Baron within Shizuku's story. The scene contains a lot of elements moving independently, including the small planets and Shizuku's characters. Although all these elements were animated by traditional means, they were combined using computer technology. The backgrounds, clouds, and flying islands, called Laputas, in the flying sequence were painted by an artist named Naohisa Inoue. He is a former high school art teacher who continued painting pictures of Iblard on his own. When he had his exhibition, he sent an invitation to Hayao Miyazaki since he was a huge fan of Miyazaki's animes. Of course, he didn't expect anything, but Miyazaki showed up, and he bought one painting, which is now on the wall of the cafeteria at Ghibli. The painting is called Upward Draft and looks exactly like the fantasy scene in the film. When Miyazaki asked him, "Can you work on our next film?" Inoue also worked in this film as a voice actor. He is one of Mr. Nishi's friends who joins the Country Roads jam session. Specifically, he's the tall one.
Really?
Yeah. When Shizuku is looking for a new book to read in the library, you can see on the bookshelf a book called Totoro. Country Roads at the beginning was sung by Olivia Newton-John. The version which Shizuku sang throughout the movie and at the end were sung by Yoko Hano, the voice actress for Shizuku.
Really?
Yes. On the pendulum, with the mechanical dwarfs, you can read Porco Rosso on the clock face, which is, of course, a reference to Porco Rosso, and of which the director Yoshifumi Kondo worked as an animator.
Really?
Yes. During the filming for Kiki's Delivery Service, there was concern that the name of the film, along with the character Gigi, a black cat, would create a trademark conflict with Kuroneko Tabi Uben, which is Black Cat Express Delivery. Kuroneko Tabi Uben is like UPS or FedEx in the US and has a black cat as its logo. A compromise was reached when Kuroneko Takiuben agreed to act as a sponsor for the film. In Whispers of the Heart, set in 1990s Japan, features cameos by several of Kuroneko Tabiuben's distinctive green and tan delivery trucks, including a shot of one in traffic early on when Shizuku arrives at school, when she and Yuko are walking from school, and during the closing credits, where the logo is clearly visible. And there's probably many others in background shots. Miyazaki, who was the screenwriter for this one, wanted the ending shown to be sappier. He said, "Why am I proposing this film is because no matter how hard middle-aged men try to point out the naivete and fragility of such dreaming, we can never deny the longing for an encounter with the opposite sex, so wholesomely and honestly as depicted in the original story." As this is actually based on a one-shot manga, which I did not get the name written down for. My apologies. Anyway, that brings us to the end of the trivia. Jacob, this was your first viewing. What was your first like for this film?
My first like in this movie is the light and shadows of this film. It is done tremendously well. You have it's not like the shadow behind me if you're watching us live, but this is where the artist is, because there again, this is traditional animation, and you have the character, and also you're doing the lighting. So if I remember correctly, those are two different elements that are done traditionally. Or if they're done...
it's kind of... It depends. A lot of times it is baked in.
Yeah.
Because of the... it's not like 3D animation where there was for a long time baked in, and then they moved it to being a separate process.
Right. Where
the computer kind of did the lighting. In this, I think it's still kind of baked in because that's the only way you could really do the shot. But then there are some light effects that work that differently. So anyway,
I agree, and definitely with this film, it looks like the animation and the lighting are done at the exact same time because that's kind of how you did it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just done beautifully because you have so many scenes where our main character, how do you pronounce her name again?
Shizuku.
Where you'll have her running across, or she's going under trees, and you see the reflection of the light bouncing off or like coming through the tree, and so you get this great contrast of Shizuku and the light going through the tree. Just very beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
And just like the use of shadows, the use of light in this movie is just tremendously well done. And yeah, just I love the that's a weird place to start, but it's the shadows and the lighting effects. It's very traditional lighting and shadow effects for an animated film or a hand-drawn animated film,
mm-hmm.
which I just loved it. It was so great. It's just love watching that kind of detail in films. So what's your number one?
My first like is that this is a down-to-earth love story.
Agreed.
Unlike the previous Studio Ghibli love story that we talked about last year.
Ocean Waves.
Yeah.
Actual like a character.
This one, I feel that one still kind of felt a little, I'm not going to say fake per se, but that one was still kind of not, there was still some fantasy element to it.
Agreed.
This is like very real. I mean, every moment of this relationship I can see happening
Yeah.
as being real. And there is the only fantastical elements are when we're actually in the Baron story, but for the most part, the rest of it is all. And you almost could do that live action and there be no change, other than it may not be as pretty, in my opinion. But I love that it's just it's since they weren't having to punch up, all the fantasy sequences and stuff, and were able to just focus in on it. They got to be really detailed on making the Tama Hills of Japan look so beautiful and focus in on the story. Everything worked to give you the belief that these two people are in love.
Yeah, exactly.
By the end of it,
Yeah.
to the point where it's like at the end when they're working their way up that hill. It's like,
Yeah.
you could both walk if you would both not be hard-headed about it.
Yeah.
But yet I can see this because
Determination.
yes, but at the same time it's like I like how these characters actually do feel like they're in love. Both characters
Yes.
feel like they're in love with each other,
Agreed.
unlike in Ocean Waves. Be curious? Go check that episode out. But I really enjoyed how this one handled it. It's a sweet story, and it like Miyazaki said, it is has a very sappy ending. But I can appreciate a sappy ending like this. Part of the reason, well, we've talked about some other movies that were love stories that they didn't quite end this sappy, that I kind of wanted to end this sappy. Namely Your Name, where I was sitting there going, just say the freaking name! Run towards each other, kiss, do something! But no.
Embrace cheesiness.
Yes.
Exactly.
But no, this one we get more of that, to where it actually ends on the kiss. It's all leading to that kiss there at the very end, to the point where it's like, yeah, we got to the kiss, roll credits.
Yep. Good job.
It's like, part of me wants to see more, but part's like, yeah, you finished the story here. This is what everything was leading to. You literally held the climax until the last second, and I appreciate that.
That is good.
I really appreciate that, because this movie didn't need falling action, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But-
really good storytelling.
I really enjoyed the down-to-earth love story of this film. It felt real. I could see this. There was some romanticism to this story, but I really felt like this is something I could see happening.
Okay.
So yeah, my first like is that it's a down-to-earth love story. What's
All right.
your second like?
My second like would actually be the Baron himself, the cat. Now, granted, be like most people say, oh, he's actually a cat. No, he's
an anthropomorphic cat,
he's an
statuette,
Statuette.
with anthropomorphic animated sequences
Exactly.
that are in the imagination of Shizuku,
Yes, which are very well done.
to the point where I wanted more of it.
Yes, absolutely.
Which I think is why, my understanding, that is actually why they made the cat returns, because they loved the part with the Baron so much that they wish they had more. That's why they made a second movie.
Absolutely.
It's like, yeah, you should have done more of that. I need movie 3 of this trilogy.
Just give us more Baron. That's all we need. More Baron.
Yes.
More Baron all the time.
I need a Studio Ghibli film just called The Baron, because we'd all know who it is.
Yeah, exactly.
And
At
it'd
this
be
point-
about the Baron pretty much being the Ghibli version of Doctor Who, with random Japanese girls being his companions and going off and saving the world from evil cat wizards. Voiced by Tim Curry.
Of course. Of course.
Anyway.
Yeah, so it's the Baron be like the animation parts are fantastic. Definitely Shizuku's very elaborate imagination of
Yes.
her imagination of the Baron and who he is, and Gary Elsway
Yeah, Carrie Elways.
Gary Elsways does a fantastic job as the Baron, or the cat. And there again, if you want more of the Baron, go watch The Cat Returns. It's a great film.
And I believe that is actually coming up next year on our Ghibli month, but I'll need to double check all that.
Yeah, I will be buying this film anyway.
Oh yeah. Anyway.
Anyways, me glowing over this film.
Well-
glowing over The Cat Returns.
Well, the thing is, my number 2 is the Baron's story sequences.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Because those are some of the most beautiful moments of this movie visually.
Absolutely.
And I like how, even though these scenes have no real impact
Right.
on the story itself, other than showing her progress in writing the story. You actually feel like some attachment to all these characters, and to the point where that scene where the Shizuku of the story is in that gem mine and trying to find the right crystal that she needs.
Oh yeah.
That was actually a very intense scene. I was like, is she going to
Agreed.
find it?
Yeah.
I don't even know what this does. I don't know I don't know what this lapis lazuli is going to do for her, but can she find it? Is she going to do it? It's like, and then it just goes the other scene. It's like, oh yeah, that's not what this movie is about.
No, it's not.
But it's like, oh, okay, I understand. Did she find the lapis lazuli? I want to know that. I assume she did. That movie,
One would hope.
that story had to have a happy ending.
Yeah.
But
Your story. Thank you very much.
but that story is not the point of this story.
Exactly.
But they are so beautiful. It's like I just love the look of everything, because you go from this kind of, it's not a drab Tokyo, it's a very light and colorful one,
Right.
But you go from this light and colorful normal world to it's like turning on in the HDR image on Photoshop and turning the vibrancy all the way up. It's like, it's so pretty.
I can't see.
I'm blind, but I love it. It's pretty.
All right, this game's pretty.
Yeah, pretty. But and then you go back and it's like, oh, this is still pretty, but it's not as pretty. I know that sounds weird, but
Right.
that's what it is.
Understandable.
Yeah. But in this, I enjoyed those sequences so much because it really, this is one of the only movie I think we have in all of Studio Ghibli, outside of maybe The Cat Returns, in which you have the real world and you have a fantasy world,
Right.
and they're in the same movie and they're distinctive enough. It's like, I like both of these. I don't feel like I'm at a loss for either one of these moments. At the same time, I want more.
Agreed.
I want more. Anyway, that's my second like. What's your third like?
All right, so bouncing off what you were saying just a minute ago, going into kind of bouncing back into my second like, was the idea that the Baron because we all think of the big grand scene when Cary Elwes does the voice for the character, but the figurine of the Baron is so key to this film, even though he's only a little statue. He's only a little statue of a cat, but his presence makes such an impact that it drives Shizuku.
It's not a car.
I know. Shizuku.
It's not a Suzuki.
But it drives our main character to do greater things with her life and wanting to challenge herself with more. And I feel like it's great that you have this one little character who isn't animated only for like 10 minutes of the film that cascades more of the plot and more development of our characters. And I find that more interesting because even though I'm more inclined to be more action-oriented stories and stuff that gets my that excites me more kinetic storytelling, but the storytelling in this movie is so unique that it's grounded and has a lot of fun elements to it that I'm not used to as storytelling. And I just really enjoyed. Definitely, they use a figurine of a cat to compel the story further and further and further, and I just really enjoyed that. So that's my second. And you've already said your second.
Yes. So what's your third like?
My third,
Which I thought was what we had moved on to.
we had. I just wanted to.
You were you were verifying.
Yeah, I wanted to clarify.
Clarify.
All right. So my third like was Shizuku.
Close. Shizuku. You mess it up more, I'm gonna mess it up.
Shizuku. It's her journey and a journey in her imagination. that it's the young girl who's in middle school. She's a preteen, and she is wanting to do more with her life, and she's kind of stuck in a rut because she doesn't know what to do. She is a voracious reader, which I wish I was. But I'm getting there. I'm wanting to get into reading more. Anyways, just their guy caught on reading. Anyway, go figure. So it's Shizuku. Am I saying that right?
Yes.
Shizuku. Eventually, I'll say it right. Shizuku. So Shizuku's journey into finding a purpose in her life, or finding a passion that she can really sink her teeth into artistically and imaginary wise, is very beneficial for the character, because it becomes her anchor point. Where before she had no real direction or anything, she was going through the motions, and she had parents who weren't really like trying to engage her. Would just be like, oh, it's Shizuku. She's being herself. We're not going to really bother with it. That's one of my dislikes. I'll get into that later. But she finally finds a passion to do, which is through the Baron, the cat statue. Shizuku just she discovers more of who she is, and the idea of imagination and not. All right, so going back into my third like, Shizuku's journey of being a writer, being inspired by the story of the Baron, and ultimately the owner of the Baron's story, and not just simply she finds her drive, she finds her passion, and not just be like being idle in her life. And there again, being a young person, being a preteen or a tween, is be like it's a struggle enough. It's struggle enough as a young person to find and not get swept up into the trappings of being young and being in middle school and high school. But it's really nice to see, because her parents kind of, when they realize what's going on, is to encourage her in that. And that's like any young person needs that encouragement in their life, to just be like, okay, let's explore that, and not be dictated by their families. Be like, oh, you're going to be a shoemaker, or you're going to be a lawyer, or you're going to be a doctor. Just be like,
butcher, baker, candlestick maker. Oh my,
yeah,
or a mime.
Or a mime.
He gets run over all the time.
Yeah, exactly.
There's a callback.
Or he gets run over by his own cart.
Once again, a callback.
Yeah, a callback. So
that would be Wacko's Wish.
Yes, Wacko's Wish. I was also referring to Tangled.
That too.
Yeah. So yeah, it's just Shizuku's journey, and I really enjoyed it. And plus, Moon is a really cool cat, even though he doesn't talk. He's kind of a cool cat. Now, granted, he's a lot cooler cat in The Cat Returns.
That's when he's voiced by Peter Boyle.
Yeah, exactly. It took me the longest time to figure out that was actually Moon. I didn't realize it. It was like, oh, okay. This big chunky cat, oh, he's white, but in this movie, he's gray.
He also goes by many names.
He goes by many names. And I found that very interesting when I realized, watching The Cat Returns, and that, there again, not going into spoilers, because if you haven't seen the movie, go watch it. It's a good movie. I would definitely be purchasing myself. But there's a big scene where you get to reveal like what his name is, and everybody goes, oh my gosh, he's this character. And I'm like, oh my gosh, it's Moon from The Whispers of the Heart. It's the same character. What the? That was awesome. But yeah, I really enjoyed it, so I kind of threw in Moon's, it's like, oh, okay, he's also the character from The Cat Returns. So yes, I hope that wasn't too confusing, but yeah, my third like was that. So what's yours?
My third like for this film is this was the most unexpected but well used use of the song Country Roads by John Denver.
Oh, yes.
I knew that song was featured in this movie on the second viewing, but I remember the first time, sitting down at my friend's house and hitting play, and they start playing Country Roads and going, "Is that what song I think it is?" And then not recognizing that was Olivia Newton-John, I thought, do they know what the song is? They know what and then it just keeps coming back up and coming back up. It's like, what is up with the use of Country Roads in this movie? Apparently, part of the reason why they did it is because Country Roads is a very popular choice in Japanese karaoke bars when they want to do English music.
That makes sense.
Yeah. So, this is the use of the song fits so well throughout this, even though they changed lyrics throughout the film in order to fit different parts of it. But, and of course, because she was using that as for that graduation thing, it actually showed her writing skills, because rewriting poetry to still fit the meter of the thing where it was parodying it, and technically in a different language than the original one, even though you can't hear that in the English dub. That takes some skill.
That is very good.
It takes a lot of skill to pull that off.
It does.
And even though we are listening to the translation of the parody of an English song, which should be resulting in a bunch of English, it actually comes out pretty well, both for the actual version and for Concrete Roads, which is like, oh, Concrete Roads.
Huh.
I wonder if you had some talks with some raccoons, since this takes place in the same location as our last movie.
I did not feel like when you said that, I did not realize it was the same location.
There was a point in there where I was watching going, I wonder if there are any raccoons in this film.
Yeah, our raccoon.
Because I kept an eye out for some tanukis. And they could have been anywhere in this film, and we never know.
Exactly.
So, for future reference, you ever see something that looks strange or odd in a Studio Ghibli film? It's the Pompoko raccoons.
Yeah,
Exactly. That's just what it is. Yep. And I kept keeping an eye out for that, and it never happened. But that's not even the point. Right. Especially since the country roads were all dug up in the last movie.
True. Very true.
But yeah, this was such a fun little... the use of that song, I thought, fits so perfectly.
It did.
And I'm happy it was there. So yeah, this was definitely the most unexpected but well-used version of Country Roads I'd ever heard of. Which brings us to our dislikes.
All right.
What is your first dislike?
There again, this is more of a nitpick to this.
I think we're going to be running into that a lot.
Yeah, just a nitpick. It's a very drawn-out story. Like it's one of those films that, for a viewer, it's okay, I have to watch this. And I remember something there. Not there again. It wasn't. They're using contrast. So you have Whispers of the Heart. But like, I can't remember how long this movie is.
It's about 2 hours.
It's about a 2-hour film. It feels much longer. It feels like a 2.5, maybe 3-hour film. It's kind of like the original Dune. And not it's bad storytelling or it's trying to compile so much stuff into one movie. It just has this. I'm getting that look from Drew.
I'm wondering why you.
I'm not throwing Dune under the bus.
First off, okay. I'm just going to say this. The first Dune is trying to cram so much in there. There's no way it was moving slow.
It felt like it was moving slow. To me, it did.
That's because you had no clue what was going on.
Exactly. So the reason I say that, because there again, it's just using comparison for my sake, that like watching Dune, having no context of what's going on, and you having no clue, this movie is just the story to me drags in a lot of ways. Now it's not a bad drag.
Well, I mean, it kind of. I'm just playing devil's advocate here, mind you. But to some degree, the story needs to drag out a little bit because they both need to come of age.
Agreed.
And admittedly, a part of me wanted the movie to start when she started writing the book, because to me that's where a lot of the. Admittedly, I'm there for the Baron in a lot of cases, at least watching the movie. But it feels like we take a long time to get to that point, and then that point is like a whole nother movie.
Yeah,
on top of this other hour that's before that. And and the movie's only 2 hours long. So,
right.
and this one is kind of more of a drawn out thing, but that's just how this director handled it.
Oh, I agree. Be like, do not get me wrong. This is a really good movie. It's a really good movie. Do not get me wrong on that.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, to me, it
It does take a while to get where it's going.
It does. It'd be like the first hour, it just takes a long time. There again, good storytelling. It's just the duration of how long they take to tell the story gets a little tiring. There again, good storytelling. Just a little bit of, okay.
It'd been nicer if they'd have been a little more succinct.
Yeah, exactly.
I see what you're saying.
Mm-hmm.
I diskagree.
Okay.
But that's as far as I'm going to go
again,
to that.
This is a nitpick about this film.
Geek Devotions asks, would it have been better if it was treated like a TV series? I don't think that would have worked.
No, I don't.
For this story.
No. I think if you would have done it probably in 2 films.
Well,
there again, you would have gave us more Baron.
Yes, that is true. But at the same time, if you tried to separate it, you would have to separate it where she starts writing the story, and that would not be a good ending, even for a cliffhanger ending of the first half.
Right.
But anyway.
Yeah, anyways, there again, this is the nitpick about the film.
Yeah.
Because you have to find something about the film you don't like.
The problem is, for you mainly, it drags.
Yeah, it's not they be like, they pull the chute down, and it drags out. But it's more like, it's like the chute has been opened, but it's not slowing the story down so much.
It's like when you're on the road and you get stuck behind somebody whose foot is resting on the brake, even though they're going at speed limit.
True.
They are still moving kind of slow, and you can't tell what they're doing.
Exactly.
For bits of the film.
Yeah, bits of the film you can't tell where everything's going, but
yeah, but that's also because we're looking at 2 teenagers who don't really hate each other at the beginning, but one is very agitated at the other one.
Yes.
So it takes a while for them to finally realize, oh, hey, actually, we're in love.
We actually do like each other.
Yeah, we actually can talk to one another and be civil, and not just have one girl just continuing angry over and over again.
Jerk.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just like at some points it does drag a little bit, but there again, that's a nitpick. I'm not saying this is a bad movie. I'm not.
Yes.
So that is.
To my first nitpick.
Go ahead.
The Baron story sequences were not long enough to warrant putting the Baron on the cover of the movie.
Amen.
Now I know this may not be on the cover of the Japanese version. In fact, I suspect it's not. But I suspect the real reason why that scene is on the front of this movie is because The Cat Returns came out first, and they were actually trying to bank on the popularity of the Baron.
That makes sense.
So they put him on the cover. It's like, yeah, this is another story with the Baron.
Yeah,
he's only in it for like 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Outside of being a figurine that shows up. Because I mean, there's also that weird point, like when she first gets to the antique store, and you see the Baron sitting on there. And you're going, the Baron's here. The story is starting, finally. And you guys, no, the story's been going because the Baron's not actually the story of the movie. So, because it's treated like, it's like the camera zooms in and you get the beauty shot of the statuette. It's like they obviously put in a lot more detail into that shot. So you're going, oh, it's pretty. The story's about to start. No, the story's been going. You're just wanting The Cat Returns Part 2. Exactly. Or part 1.5. I don't know.
Yeah, give us more Cat.
We like the Baron.
Yeah.
As you can tell.
Yeah,
but unfortunately, putting him on the cover of this one, including having Shizuku, even though Shizuku is the main character, and is in front of him on the cover, she's in her fantasy dress from the story part of it. And so you look at it, and the cover that the movie gives you is not. This is me getting real graphic designing on this. It is not selling the actual movie. It is selling 10 minutes of the movie, and that's the problem. Because in order to actually see a scene from the movie on the book, you have to turn it over, and of course, you get another shot from the 10 minutes with the Baron and this. So you're still thinking, oh, it is the actual thing. And then there's 3 little scenes right here of her on the bus
with the cat, with Moon.
with Moon, yeah. Of her singing while playing the fiddle, of him playing the fiddle. Although she kind of looks like she's hypnotized in the shots, the way they freeze framed this, and her getting. I don't remember what she was in where he had to save her before falling off of the retaining wall. I don't remember what that is. And that's what it looks like. I don't know what that shot is, but the 3 shots from the movie itself, that's actually part of the, not just those 10 minutes, are small right here.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. That is not how you sell this movie.
No, it's not.
I know that the Baron was a popular character. He's popular enough that they made a movie spinoff featuring him. But he is not the main character of this film.
No,
he
he's
should
not.
not be featured as like, this is the story. This looks like the cover of a Doctor Who box set. But that's not what this is. I kind of would like to see that, but that's not what this is. So I'm just annoyed with him being only in the film for a grand total in full anthropomorphic form.
Yeah.
For a grand total of 10 minutes, that is not what this cover is selling you.
Yeah.
And that annoys me.
It's false advertising.
Not completely false advertising. It falls in the loophole.
Yeah, it does.
But this is still not what the movie you're selling. This is that technically right thing.
Yeah.
Which is the best kind of correct from what I've been told. Mm-hmm. But it still annoys me. So yeah. That's my first dislike, is the Baron's only in it for 10 minutes. Not that the cover would tell you that.
That is true.
What is your second like?
Mine is the exact same. It's like, we need more Baron.
We do need more Baron.
Because, like, there again, going back to my one of my likes, the fact that the Baron, even though he's only animated, like, you know, anthropomorphically wise, for 10 minutes in the film, like, the essence of the character is the focal point once we reach the character. But for me, they should have expanded more into the fantasy world and given us more of that. And it's
especially since that's where all the money shots were.
Exactly.
Except for the one shot of the Baron there when they introduce him, and you're like, "Ooh, the movie's about to start."
Pretty much.
That's the other money shot, and
exactly.
You could still have that in the story I just described.
Pretty much.
That's what the Cat Returns does.
Exactly. So, yes, I'm going to say we just need more Baron in this film. I mean, like, again, the story between the two, you know, preteen loves are the kids that are falling in love with each other. Mm-hmm. Let me say that right, then not sound like I'm saying something else. It's just be like it's slightly annoying that it's like, okay, we have this amazing character and we only get him for 10 minutes. Why can't we get him for like 30, 45 minutes?
Because that was not the point of the story.
I understand that, but we all love the cat.
Yes.
We love the Baron, so we want more of the Baron.
That's why they made another movie with the Baron.
Exactly, so give us more movies about the Baron. That's all I'm asking.
Anyway.
Ask the Baron. That's all we ask.
Yeah.
Come on, Studio Ghibli, give us more, please.
Some of this is Disney and G-Kids' fault. Because they're the ones who designed the cover of this thing.
True. Come on, Disney. Come on, G-Kids. Get your act together.
Yes. Anyway, that was your second dislike?
Yes.
Okay, my second dislike. For a story that is very realistic, man, there's a lot of convenient things that happen in this film. Mm-hmm. Because, for one thing, Moon. We all love Moon.
Yes.
He just happened to be on the train.
Yes.
And just happened to get off at her stop. And just happened to take her all the way to where the Baron was. And then the Baron's not in the film. Except for 10 minutes. It's like, that's convenient, but not convenient in the right way.
Yeah.
Because, to me, if she had... because that's the thing. If she'd have just gone to the library and dropped that off, A, you wouldn't have had that part of the story. B, you wouldn't. They could have still had them meet also, but you still have this whole thing where she meets the Baron, and that's what inspires her to have the story, which gives her the self-confidence to kiss him at the end of the movie.
Yeah.
I know there's a lot of things that conveniently happen that way, especially when you look back on them in real life. But there's a part of me going, man, a lot of convenient things happen in this.
They did.
Almost as if somebody designed it to happen that way. Almost like, somebody who knew better than the characters actually knew the best way for their story to unfold.
Yeah, agreed.
Unfortunately, this is also starting to sound a lot like Calvinism. God is sovereign, though. That's the main thing.
Right.
Anyway. But yeah, that's my second dislike.
All right.
Do you have a third?
Yes, I do. Actually.
Okay.
All right. So my third dislike. Come on, Notes. Really? All right. Is Suzuku's parents and her sister, what have you. Now, I understand this is a Japanese culture. I do understand that. The idea that you have a daughter who is going through problems and you see that she is she's not studying, or she's studying but she's not really studying.
Mm-hmm.
She's just kind of flicking off in life and not having any direction.
And being the inspiration for a YouTube channel about lo-fi hip-hop tunes to study by.
Agreed. Even though I didn't realize that until Drew mentioned it.
Yeah.
Either way, so the idea that if, say hypothetically, if I was married and had a daughter, the fact to be like, you notice things about her that she's changed. Not the fact that she's, now 11, 12 years old, but more her study habits have changed, her behavior has changed, her grades have obviously dropped. And so the idea that it's more like, okay. I understand you're busy. I understand there again, it's Japanese culture. It's very much be the businessman, work until you drop dead.
Yeah.
But there's this, the real notion of being aware of your child's needs and their problems and not simply shrugging it off. Like one scene where Suzuku has been sitting at her desk all night writing, and her mom comes in, and it's like, oh, I didn't know you were in, and instantly starts griping about I think it was the laundry that had been done.
Oh, you don't get me started on Shiho. I wanted to smack her upside her head. It's like, she is your sister. I know you have the best thought. You're thinking good for her, but at the same time, can you not tell could you not act like, maybe kind to her?
Yeah,
you're just nagging her every second of the day. It's
agree.
Like,
Yeah, agree. That is very well. It's kind of like how what I understand is I don't have a big sister. I don't have sisters except for a sister-in-law. So to understand how people who have older sisters or younger sisters, it's like it can be that way. But at the same time, it's this idea that you're not even remotely paying attention to the child who's obviously going through something. There are problems, and neither the father, the mother, especially the sister, do not intervene in those problems. Say, hey, let's have a conversation. And finally, we do have a conversation. There's really no, hey, we care about you. We want to figure out what's going on, and not, oh, just continue to do what you're doing. And eventually you'll figure it out. But like, that's not parenting.
That's not helpful.
That's not parenting at all. It's more, oh, just let her do whatever she wants to do, and then she turns into a vagabond and doesn't go to school.
Because she's too busy writing.
She's too busy writing. And it's just that the parents do not intervene in a...
Or they don't really try to find out what's actually going on.
Exactly.
They have a meeting.
Yeah, they have a
to
meeting.
say, how important it is to keep your grades up.
Yeah, exactly.
Why? It's like, you could ask, what's going on? What's happening?
Yeah, exactly.
You're obviously distracted by something. We want to understand.
Yeah.
Because we love you.
Not.
And I get the fact that they're. in a way, they are still acting loving towards her,
Right.
especially via Japanese culture that we are not, and that we are not in.
Yeah.
But you do get the feeling that all four of these people, they have their own agendas.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, they do work around each other like a well-oiled machine and working like clockwork. But when something goes wrong, you got to find out what's going on.
Yeah.
And obviously, Shizuku is having an issue
Yeah.
where she feels like she has to grow as a person so that she's, I guess, worthy of
exactly.
of Seiji.
Yeah, she's worthy of Seiji. She's worthy of everybody else.
And admittedly, she probably she has felt like throughout most of the movie like she's not
exactly.
She's been lazy. It doesn't help that her parents and her sister keep talking like she's lazy also.
Yeah, that doesn't.
That's not helpful in the slightest. But anyway, because honestly, she is working hard on all the stuff. Because even when she's not reading, I mean, there's a reason why she was the lo-fi girl.
Yeah, that's true.
For the thing, it's like she's actually in there sitting, and you're the one who picked the headphones off and yelled at her for not doing her other chores because she was too busy doing her homework.
Yeah.
I'm getting mixed messages.
just a bit. It's priorities, people. I understand. Be like it's a goal oriented culture.
And there's a very goal oriented family.
Yeah, pretty much. And would you want to live in an apartment like that? That's all. Be like everything.
I mean, that's smaller than
books.
That's smaller than this apartment.
I agreed, but Jiminese, man.
I also got the feeling there was not enough communication between the four of them for that to be a healthy thing. But that once again could be cultural thing that I don't understand.
Yeah, exactly. Be like coming from an American culture standpoint, it's the idea like if your kid's going through problems, it's like, hey, let's talk about this.
Right.
And sometimes be like, it's just you got to let them talk about it and not force it. And yeah.
Anyway,
so it's the lack of communication, the let's dog it our child about this and this and this and not get to the source of the issue, and let's resolve it with let her do what she wants to do. Which
makes me wonder what the point of y'all having the sit down meeting was.
Exactly.
Other than to make her feel worse.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, great job, parents. You did a really bad job,
says the two guys who are not parents.
Exactly.
So
I would hope and prayer that, if I ever have a child or adopt a child or marry into a family that has children, that I would have, that if something like that came up, I would be able to, instruct and be able to guide very with wisdom and discernment in those to what is going on in that child's life, rather than just let you do whatever you want to do, and then that child is still living in our basement until they're 30. No, thank you. Get out, get a job, and complete high school and go to college. And
I don't think that was actually going to be the issue, but anyway.
I knew that, but it's more modern American thing. Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, either way. So, yeah, it's my third.
I don't have a third dislike.
Really?
I tried to come up with something.
Really?
But honestly, I can't. The whole way the movie is set up, every time I thought, well, this could be a dislike. No, wait, that makes sense because of this thing. So it's like, and it happened over and over again.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I don't have a third dislike. So we need to jump into our rating for this movie.
Agreed.
You go first. I go first. Okay. I am giving this a 8. I'm giving it an 8. It's a nice like I said earlier, it's a nice, realistic, down to earth story, love story, and I appreciate that. And I love the story, the sequences with the Baron, even though I wish they were longer. That's why there's another movie.
Exactly.
So I appreciate all that, and both of my nitpicks are just like, it could be better, but I can kind of live with it, sort of a thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm giving it an 8 because I think that's actually a legitimately good movie.
And I would completely agree with you. Be like, this has an amazing story. It's definitely unique where it's more down to earth. It has more substance to it that has like real meaning to it, and it's focused around a figure and also two characters who are falling in love with each other. And I would definitely give it an 8. It's got a great heart. It's perfect in its execution in some ways, and then others it's a little bit here or there. But there again, overall, it's a great film that people need to watch. Now, granted, I have a lot more appreciation for The Cat Returns ever since I watched it.
Boy, we are really building up The Cat Returns
Yes,
for
we
this.
are. Yes,
For good
we are.
reason.
I've already ordered. I'm pre-ordered it for Amazon. So yes, I will. We will definitely be reviewing this film. I hope next year.
I believe it's next year.
Okay, so we'll
I'll need to double check, but I think when I looked it up, the Cat Returns
yeah.
is I don't remember if it's right before or right after Spirited Away. Because I know Spirited Away is next year.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Yeah. We might squeeze it in there. Maybe. Maybe
well,
not. I don't know.
it depends on how many Saturdays are in November next
That is
year.
true.
That could make it easier. Anyway,
So yeah, I give it an 8. It's a good movie. It's a good movie. It's not my cup of tea. I feel like it's a long-term movie, not long-term, but just it's a good film. It's a good film. Go watch it.
yes. Once again, I want to read our trivia question for our next episode, which is who wrote the English language version of Princess Mononoke? And of course, we're asking this question because next week we are reviewing Princess Mononoke, the film that caused us to rate Nausicaa of the Valley of the Wind lower because we'd already seen Princess Mononoke. Go check out that episode. That's actually a good episode too. Anyway, so yeah, join us next week for that. Do you got anything else before we jump out of here?
No. I will be out of town this coming weekend for a retreat. So yeah, if you guys pray for that, be awesome.
All right. So in the meantime, this has been Drew,
This is Jacob.
and we will catch you in the next frame. Come, Jacob. We must prepare for next week.
Prepare for what, Drew?
The same thing we do every week, Jacob. Record a podcast.
Oh, boy.
So where can they find you, Jacob?
You can find me on Facebook at Jacob B. Heron, also on Facebook at Jacob's Daily Art Corner, where I try to draw each and every day. I don't get to it as often as I like, but join me there. Also, you can find me on Instagram at Jacob B. Heron, on Twitter at Jacob Heron, and Letterboxd at Jacob Heron. So where can they find you, Drew?
You can also follow me on Letterboxd at ggeorge759, Facebook as Drew Dodgen, my Facebook page where you can see pictures I've taken at Drew's Photo Bin. You can also follow me on Twitter at ggeorge759.
You can email us at thecellcastpodcast@gmail.com.
You can also follow us on Twitter at cast_cell.
You can follow us on Twitch at twitch.tv/thecellcastgaming.
You can also follow us on YouTube at Cellcast,
Listen to our podcast on Apple Podcasts,
Google Play Podcasts,
Stitcher,
Spotify.
and your favorite podcast directory.
You can also listen to us on the Movie of the Week podcast with Jim Heron, where we talk about live action movies.
No, you can't.
And remember, Cell is a single L. Country roads, take me home to the place I belong. West Virginia, Mountain Mama, take me home. Country roads.